I had the luck that my parents always read to me since I was a very little child. As soon as I could read, it seems I disappeared from the planet because there was always somebody behind a book. And that has been like that to this day. So first I was a reader, and then I love to paint. I'm a very emotional person, and I always needed, also since childhood, to paint things, like to get it out of my system. So I do shows all around Colombia. So I've already started in Switzerland as well, where I combine puppets and narration of my stories projected on a big screen, and songs. So it's a great way to make children love reading, and I enjoy, hearing them laugh and singing with them and so forth. So I think I've found my life purpose. So I was found by Senora Jackie, wonderful Senora Jackie of Cultural Bites, who has a really similar life to mine, because she grew up sort of in Colombia, in France, in the States. And so she found me through my Facebook page, which I never look at. She had written to me maybe 5 years ago, and I'm really bad with my social media. So I, sent them Libertad, and they liked it. Then we first initially had thought of 4 different books. Then we thought maybe it would be nice to have them all languages integrated together, so that would invite children to, I like the Chinese, maybe I can learn Mandarin, or I can at least sing a few songs in Mandarin and maybe in French, and so make children curious about other languages. So Libertad is, it translates into freedom, and I wanted to think about people protesting against unjust situations, but I wanted to do it in a way like you took personal responsibility for your freedom. So the book has a fox who lives in freedom in the forest, and he meets the dog who's chained beside a cabin outside. The dog is chained, and he has his food every day. The idea comes from a fable by Jean de La Fontaine, which is The Wolf and the Dog. In this fable, the wolf is all skinny, and he's very sort of envious of the dog because the dog is all fat because he gets his food every day. But suddenly the wolf sees that the dog is chained, and so he says, I prefer, to die of hunger than to be chained. And so I started sort of on that idea. But in this case, I wanted the two animals to vibrate in a loving and compassionate way. So there's a place in the book that where dog and fox look into each other's eyes, and they see in the eyes the image of the other. So that's this image, which is to me the most important one. Actually, inside of the pupil, you can see the other's reflection. So that's what I sort of, in brief, not so brief, but that's more or less what the book is about. Well, it's very important to, first of all, I think, to connect if you have another language in your roots. Like I have Japanese roots, but I was never spoken to in Japanese, so it's like part of my personality was lost. My grandparents, they also spoke French. I also learned French sort of easily. And I think this was because I had a multicultural house. So, like hearing something resonating that is somewhere in my genetic memory, I think. And on the other hand, it makes children smarter because you simply have different sounds that are moving around in your brain. And children from 0 to 7 years old are like language geniuses They can learn languages without an accent, and they can understand the grammar and everything without having it explained. They can, children have that capability because the brain is full of explosions of neuron connections. And then the brain has to, to survive, it has to start cutting it, pruning. So that after 7, the brain starts pruning and will prune out the things that it hasn't learned. So if you haven't learned a second language or even a third one, where you know that there are different points of view and different ways to perceive the world, then it's much more difficult to learn this afterward. In the page, you'll have the audios of the whole book read by either myself or the Chinese teacher of Cultural Bites, or my daughter, who's native French speaker. And plus, the book has certain places where we have songs that you can listen to, very short songs, but the idea is that you can sort of linger on certain pages. For example, this is a page where the wolf, the fox and the dog are by a lake or by a pond, and so there's a little song with it that goes like:
Del lago me fascina el agua cristalina, se ve nuestro reflejo en ese claro espejo. Respira profundo la calma del mundo.
And you have it in the other language as well.
The beauty of the pond is its crystal water song. I look at a reflection, a mirror of affection. Let's breathe in completely the world's silent tranquility.
And so forth. You can hear it in the 4 languages. So you can purchase the book through the Cultural Bites website. You can see the link below. It will be only available online for the moment. And in the link, you will find not only the book, which has the texts. We have the images on one side, and we have the texts in Spanish, French, English, and Mandarin.